Hey guys,
How you doing, everybody?
today we're going to be looking at the Maono AU-PM320S condenser microphone set.
This is an XLR microphone, so it comes with the arm, as well as the pop filter and a windshield, and the XLR cable as well.
It's the full set basically to get you started.
This microphone has been sent out to us as a test unit. That's not going to affect our opinions in any way. We're going to check it out, test the sound quality, and we'll let you know what we think.
Right, let's have a look. So, taking a look at the box, it's got a nice colour scheme in my opinion.
We can see on the front we have an image of the microphone with the included accessories.
Taking a look at the side, there's a few key points highlighted.
And if we look at the back of the box, there's a lot more detailed information. So we have a table, and that's got some important information, including frequency response, sensitivity, impedance, and so on. Then we also have a frequency response graph, as well as the polar pattern. And we'll notice this one's cardioid. And then finally, we have a diagram of the setup.
Perfect, let's take a look inside.
So opening up the box, we have an instruction manual here, as well as what appears to be some kind of feedback card with information regarding email and website. And then on the top layer here, we have the included windshield, as well as the pop filter.
Nice logo on the front as well. It doesn't look like there's anything else on that top layer, so I'm just going to lift that whole thing out. So it's well arranged in the box, it's very space efficient with their placements.
And you can see here it's good strong foam as well, so nothing's getting damaged during shipping. On this side here we have what looks like a very standard shock mount. It looks like they've included the thread adapter as well, so that's good.
Same can be said about the stand by the looks of it. And what actually fell out as I lifted it was some included Velcro straps.
We also have the clamp, and this one's for the stand.
On first impression, it looks like a nice solid shape. I mean, I've had them in the past where this part is just bent and it's got foam underneath as well, so it's going to not damage the desk. Looks like they've included the XLR.
Not every microphone has an XLR cable, so that's nice to see.
And last, but definitely not least, nothing would be complete without the microphone.
Just one thing I want to mention very quickly here is I took the stand out the box. This does spring out like this. It's not a strong force, but just
Something
be careful when you're
of.
taking that out.
So first impressions, it's a sturdy looking mic, quite a clean look, and yeah, we'll go into testing it in just a moment.
So in the hand, this feels very solid. The full metal construction definitely gives this a very robust feel. If I pop this on the scales, this comes in at 326 grams, so that will explain why it feels a bit weightier in the hand, although it's not a heavy microphone.
Now it's a full metal construction, so yes, it feels sturdy in the hand in terms of weight, but it's also solid. I mean, there's no give when I give that a press. Not in the grill, not in the top, not in any of it. It feels robust.
The only thing I have noticed though is if I sort of take this mic and give it a gentle turn like that, there's a little bit of creak, and that's possibly this center ring here that's got the Maono name on it. But this definitely doesn't feel like it's about to fall apart in my hands. Solid, it's well built.
Talking of which, let's have a quick look. So none of this wobbles, and that's solidly in there as well. That's not wobbling at all. And while we're at it, we may as well look at the quality of the connection type. So it's quite a definitive click. There's a little bit of wobble from the XLR itself.
Not anything concerning though, I don't think.
I don't think it's a top quality cable. It doesn't have that smooth release on the clip.
It's not as smooth as something like a Neutrix, but it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, but it is at least holding in place. Comes in and out quite easily, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like you're at risk of damaging either the mic or the interface when you plug that in, which is good.
It definitely feels like a mic that's going to last for a long time. So a quick word about the included pop filter. It seems to be good quality. The gooseneck on it is stiff, which means that you should be able to maneuver it into whichever direction you have it. The connection between the gooseneck and the actual filter itself is sturdy here. This isn't going to snap at all.
That's usually the weakest point on those pop filters, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And equally so, the connection on this end is good as well. So you shouldn't have any issues with it breaking. Now, we've just assembled the microphone onto the included arm. It was a quick and easy process. As you can see, the stand perfectly supports the weight of the microphone. So if you want to higher it, it's going to stay there. And if you want to lower it, it's also going to stay there.
And if we just connect the pop filter to it.
Now, because this is an XLR microphone, it means you're going to need some sort of interface to connect it to your computer. Specifically, it's going to need to be an XLR interface that supports 48 volts of phantom power. To stage gain this microphone, you'll need to set the preamp to around about 34 dB. Although it will vary from interface to interface, depending on how the AD converter then translates the signal, you may need to boost it in post to reach a mastered level. Iris is going to do a sound test now, and we're going to be comparing this against a similarly priced USB microphone, a professional broadcast mic, as well as another similarly priced XLR microphone. And since we're looking at this from the perspective of gamers and streamers, we'll also do a test against the mic that comes on the SteelSeries Arctis 3 headset.
The purpose of this sound test is to listen out for how much it picks up those plosive sounds like P's and B's and those harsh S and F sounds. Right, let's have a look. Open your mind, relax a while and float downstream. Picture yourself in London's Hyde Park on a sunny summer afternoon, Saturday the 5th of July 1969 to be precise. Sitting on the grass and soaking up the rays as part of a crowd who are there to see the Rolling Stones. Open your mind, relax a while and float downstream. Picture yourself in London's Hyde Park on a sunny summer afternoon, Saturday the 5th of July 1969 to be precise. Sitting on the grass and soaking up the rays as part of a crowd who are there to see the Rolling Stones. It was the group's first concert in a couple of years and an emotional occasion, taking place only 2 days after the death of former guitarist and founder member Brian Jones, who had been replaced by Mick Taylor. The night before, there had been a candlelit vigil for Jones in the park, and by showtime, between 250,000 and 500,000 fans had gathered in anticipation. Taking place only 2 days after the death of former guitarist and founder member Brian Jones, who had been replaced by Mick Taylor. The night before, there had been a candlelit vigil for Jones in the park, and by showtime, between 250,000 and 500,000 fans had gathered in anticipation.
Having listened to the sound test, you will also notice that the microphone does have a very natural sound to it, but it's not fatiguing to the ears in any way. It's not too bright, but it's definitely a reasonably bright sounding microphone. As this graph shows, you'll see that this microphone has a very flat frequency response. There's nothing to speak of in the way of a bass bump, and the mids are all very flat, and then it peters off around about 18k, which is as it states on the box.
And it's clear from the frequency response graph that they haven't actually altered the bass levels. There isn't any kind of raised bass in there at all, which is why, like you said, it doesn't sound boomy. This is a cardioid microphone, so it should reject sound coming from the side and from the back. So we'll play some music into it just to test the off-axis rejection. The polar pattern on it was clearly cardioid, you can tell, and the rejection from behind was pretty good. but I did find maybe it would have been better if it could have rejected a little bit more noise from the sides so that it couldn't pick it up if people are sat next to each other, for example. So I'll do a quick test now to see how much noise gets rejected by the shock mount just by tapping it in a few places. So final thoughts on this microphone.
Those reverberating sounds when you tapped the casing and the boom arm, they didn't sound great. What I would say, if you are planning to use this microphone, make sure you hook it up to an arm and just be careful about not knocking it when you're using it.
Yep.
But the sound that came from it was very natural indeed.
I'll agree, it was not too bassy, but also not too tinny. It was just a very pleasant sound in my opinion. The build quality is really good. It's full metal construction and it feels sturdy. And I think it's quite tastefully built in terms of style. I like the way they've gone for the all black look rather than having a silver mesh, for example.
No issues with any of the included accessories either.
The stand and the shock mount were quite standard issue, the type of thing that you can find on Amazon for quite cheap, to be honest. And I'd say quality-wise, they're quite comparable, if I'm not going to lie.
So nothing wrong with it, but nothing particularly noteworthy either.
It's quite nice that it comes with both the windshield and the pop filter, because some people don't necessarily like using pop filters in their face and prefer something smaller, like the windshield.
The XLR cable was decent as well. It was very smooth plugging it in and taking it out. It wasn't getting jammed or anything, so that's good news.
Definitely, yeah. And one thing I did like about the XLR is it is completely black. So sometimes, well, quite commonly, XLRs have a silver head to it, which doesn't always necessarily match the mic. It just looks nice in my opinion.
Just bear in mind, you will need an interface that provides 48 volts if you want to use this. It is a condenser microphone. With regards any noise or noise floor, that's likely to vary depending on the interface that you use. So just make sure that you have an interface with decent preamps in it and you shouldn't have any problems there.
Now, as you mentioned gaming and especially streaming, if you wanted to use this mic as an alternative to using the mic on your headset, it's a huge step up in quality, there's no doubt about that, and I would definitely advise anyone who's just starting out into that to really consider something other than their headset mic for their audio.
At £60, I think it's very competitively priced.
Definitely, especially that you get everything included in the box as well to get started, with obviously the exception of an interface.
Thank you very much, Maono, for giving us the opportunity to check out this microphone. This review has been a pleasure to do.
If you like what we do and want to see more of our reviews, drop us a like and subscribe. And you can stop by our Twitch and watch us gaming. We do a double stream, often playing FPS games. So, hope to see you again soon.